The difference between a healthy relationship and an unhealthy relationship can be measured by just a few seconds. If you're in a relationship where often you're finding yourself reacting to what's occurring, feeling triggered, getting defensive, chances are it's not as healthy as it could be. And so in this video, I'm going to teach you how to respond instead of react. Because if you can make this change, you'll start to create a more healthy relationship instead of one that's built on tension and anxiousness and defensiveness. So I work with a lot of high-performing men, successful leaders and business owners. And they're often confused because whilst they're successful at work, often what occurs at home is they don't understand why the reaction, the irritation, the frustration is happening, and they don't feel they're experiencing the relationship they're looking for. So often when I work with men and they come into the Freedom Circle or they start getting coached by me, initially they start sharing some experiences in their personal life, in their marriage. And typically there's a background anxiety and frustration. It doesn't matter what I say or do, I feel like I get attacked, I feel like I'm being criticized, and I keep reacting. And the more we go into that, they start to realize that often instead of responding to the communication in their relationship, they're reacting, they're getting triggered, and they don't know why. And they don't know how to resolve this tension which is affecting their relationships. So in this video, I'm going to give you the 3 key things which can shift you from reacting to responding. One of the fundamental myths that I experience when I work with clients, particularly if they're getting triggered, reacting and agitating, is they think it's got something to do with their partner. They think it's got something to do with their wives. And as soon as they do that, they go into victim energy, they go into blame. And as much as they want me to collude with them, and I'm sure they've got friends who want to collude with them and say it's all about the wife, what I teach them is it's all about you. Whenever you get triggered, whenever you react, there's a part of you that has been sensitized. There's a button and a trigger that's been pressed. When you understand that and understand what that button and trigger is about, everything changes. The 3 key teachings when I work with men, first is, no matter how it feels, you always have choice. I've worked with men, thousands of men around the globe, and this is one of the biggest distinctions that people realize. Because often they don't realize they have choice. Choice on how they respond in each moment, choice as to how they show up in each moment. So sometimes clients come back to me and say, look, I've worked all day, provided for my family. Yep, all I want to do is just flop out, have a beer, watch some TV. And before I know it, my beloved's coming at me with a question, a criticism, a judgment. And the key thing to know, and it's tricky in the heat of the battle, you have to remember that whatever's happening externally, you get to give it a meaning. Fundamentally, the world is meaningless. Let me give you an example. So you're driving to work one day, you're running late, you've got a really important meeting, and someone cuts you off in the traffic. How do you react? Often my clients say, I get frustrated, I yell at them. I want to, have a fight with them. The next day you're driving to work, you've got up, had a coffee with your beloved, done your yoga, and you cruise into work and someone cuts you off in the traffic. How do you respond? Often they say, oh, it's okay, they're in a hurry, I'll let them go. Exactly the same external experience, totally different internal experience. What's changed? What's changed is the meaning you give it. And when you realize that we're meaning-making machines, change the meaning, I'll change the experience. When I change the experience, I realize I've got choice as to how I respond or how I react. So often when I start working with men, there's a part of them wants a silver bullet. And I often say to them, have you ever signed up for the gym? And how long did it take you to get fit? Was it 1 session? Was it 3 sessions? And those that's committed to it, it takes time. And it's the same with this. Initially, I'm going to show you the choice you have. Yet if you really want to create sustainable change, you've got to do the reps, you've got to do the practice. And what we know is, particularly for men, the fastest way to do that is in community, in a container. The reason I developed the True Freedom Circle is that as men, being held, being seen, being witnessed, we can practice these skills. This isn't a men's group, this is a training ground. Where do you get to practice being present? Where do you get to practice not reacting and responding? Where do you get to practice the way you give meaning to things? With other men in a safe environment. So if you're serious about change, it takes practice. I've got the tools, I've got the container. It's up to you to be willing to just do the reps. I see a lot of clients who come to me who've listened to all the podcasts, read all the books, and when we talk, they're like, well, I can go and develop this myself. And one of the key things to know is that you are the sum of the 5 men closest to you. And if you really want to uplift your vibration, uplift your energy, it can be tricky to find 5 men, leave alone 50 men who are leaning into the same methodology, the same vibration. So you can attempt to do it yourself. Chances are your peer group, a lot of your friends at the football club or the pub are still in the old paradigm. Their frequency and vibration is victim, blame, complaining about the feminine. And so it's possible, yet it's tricky. And understanding what to do, understanding how to build your own community is one thing, but applying it is where the real change occurs. The second teaching is, again, that triggers have nothing to do with the other person. So the first teaching is to realize that I get to give it a meaning and I have choice. The second teaching is to know that whenever you get triggered, whenever you get defensive, whenever you get reactive, what's occurring is there's a part of you that doesn't feel valued and loved. That's what's occurring. It's your stuff. And the work I do and the work we do in the circle is to realize you're not broken, you're not fucked up, you don't need years of therapy. You just forgot that you're valuable and lovable. You just forgot that you're amazing. And when you forget, you go into your fear, you go into your wound, you go into your little boy, and you start to react. You start to react to these triggers. And we start to teach you how to shrink those big hot buttons. Happens with the kids. How many times do the kids press your button and you react? We've got to shrink those buttons. You got to understand it's not about little Johnny not putting his shoes on. It's about daddy not feeling valued in that moment. I'm not a good enough dad. I feel guilty. My child's late for school. Whatever story you're telling yourself. And remember, you are the sum of your habits, and your habits are the sum of the stories you tell yourself. Change the story, you'll change the habits. One of the most beautiful stories was with a client who was having some tension with his beloved, his wife. And you've got to remember that the feminine communicates totally different to the masculine. So the masculine communicates literally, linearly, in future. The feminine communicates how she feels in context, in tangent. So his wife was giving him some feedback about an experience they'd had when they visited his mother. And he took it personally and literally. She was communicating how she felt, not what she thought. And because he didn't understand that, he got triggered. He reacted. He felt he had to go and fix something. He felt some humiliation and some shame. And when we worked together, it was like a light bulb moment. He went, my wife wasn't asking me to change anything. She was just sharing how she was feeling. I didn't have to fix it. I didn't have to do anything. All I had to do was hold space and let her feel heard. And when he went back with that energy to his beloved, everything shifted. The relationship got closer. He realized what was going on with the family of origin. Just that one little awareness changed everything from reaction to responding. So the third teaching is that when you understand how energy works, is that one of the foundations for the masculine is the ability to be present. What I mean by that is that most men, particularly busy high achievers, spend most of their day in their head. They're very busy. 60,000 thoughts a day, most of them are negative. And we're living in the future and we're living in the past. And in the workplace, that's useful, strategic, problem solving, sorting out client issues. What occurs though is that because we spend so much time in our head and we're not fully present, there's no space between stimulus and response. And that's all that's happening with reaction or responding. If you're busy in your head, there's no energetic space. Often what happens when my clients tell me, it feels like I'm blindsided. I've had a busy day at work. I come home and my wife says, can you empty the dishwasher? And I'm like, fuck, don't I do enough for the family? Because he's not present and there's no space. And when there's no space, your nervous system's going danger, 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 react, control, react, control. I need certainty. I'm going to launch it out there. Through very simple teachings that I've learned, I teach men how to become more present. When you become more present, you slow the busy mind, you get more in your body. And what occurs is when you're present, it's like the aperture on a camera. If you're busy, not present, the aperture is very narrow. What happens when we're under pressure is it's like tunnel vision. We're problem solving. The masculine energy is looking very much like this. Our wife comes from the side about the dishwasher and we explode. When you cultivate presence, you create a wider aperture. There's distance between stimulus and response. I come home, I'm present, I've transitioned, I'm more aware. And what happens, instead of that tunnel vision, my wife communicates about the dishwasher and I have time and space to respond. Of course, I'm husband now. What a beautiful way to support my wife. If you can master this through these very simple practices, you will be amazed at what changes. So just recently in one of our Freedom Circle group sessions, one of the men was sharing how he'd apply some of these tools and what changed for him. And he used the beautiful analogy of The Matrix, the movie. And of course, in the movie, we've got Neo who is constantly under attack. And what my client was experiencing was that when he was meeting his beloved, busy day at work, holding a lot of pressure, it was literally like the bullets that were getting fired were just hitting him, hitting him, hitting him. Yep, he felt like he was under attack when he walked into the house. He was reacting, reacting, reacting. Once he started to cultivate these practices, what he realized is that by being more present, creating more space, he said it was like Neo in the movie where the bullets were coming at him and he had so much time to move and the ability not to take the bullets. And that's exactly what the experience is for many, many of my clients. This experience of space, our relationship with time, our relationship with money, everything changes by being more present. So the 3 keys, if you want to move from reaction to responding, first is to know that you always have choice, even though it doesn't feel like it. You get to choose the meaning, you get to choose how you respond or react. The second is, no matter what's happening externally, particularly in your relationships and your marriages, it's never about them. It's always about you. There's a part of you that gets triggered. And the third thing to know is that if you can cultivate presence, you will create more space between stimulus and response. If you're willing to explore and master these, everything will shift. And if you want to know more, there's a link in the notes where there's a video which explains more of this for you.